Hey, you there, over here. Hello there. I couldn't help but notice that you seem to be an adventurer. Or smell, rather. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean... Okay, let's try that again. You seem to be an adventurer, and I'm looking for adventure. Sounds like we could work something out, no? Oh, normal Breton stuff. I'm looking for stories, and what better way to find them than to be a part of them? I can watch your back. I'm an accomplished spell sword in my own right. I also offer my winning personality, fiendishly good looks, and clever wit, free of charge. So, what do you say? Let me tag along? Yes! I mean, let me know when we head out. Oh, my name is Malryn, by the way. What's yours? Well, it's great to meet you. Well, I'm from High Rock originally, North Point specifically. Yes, it is very pretty. I haven't been there in years, though. Anyway, enough about me. Where are you from? Hammerfell, huh? Strange I've never made it to the province that borders my own. Maybe you'll take us one day. I was born under the sign of the thief. I'm glad you feel that way. Adventure, definitely. Seeing distant lands, meeting new people, anything that would make a good song. I'm not familiar with these lands. Anywhere sounds good to me. We'll have to start somewhere, don't we? Someday I would like to make my way all across Tamriel, but for now Skyrim will suffice.
That's a tough one. What do you want to know?
My parents are traders just outside North Point. Nope, I think I may have been too much for my parents as it was. Just normal parents. They run a trade route into North Point. A story? There's lots of stories throughout Tamriel. You want to hear about Shor's bones? Maybe how the Empire was founded? About me? Okay. Why don't I tell you about one of my first adventures out of North Point? Alright, so when I was growing up in North Point, we would mostly get merchants coming through and the occasional adventurer. I loved watching them, but they never stayed long and certainly didn't have time to talk with the locals, until one did. His name was Spurius, an Imperial passing through North Point en route to Hammerfell. I was fascinated, and he was looking for an adventuring companion, and I was curious, so I said I wanted to go. You do realize that's how I met you, right? About as safe as any other option. Well, we set out for Hammerfell. Spurius wanted to make his name as some sort of sword for hire. And I was too naive to see that not only was the idiot lacking the kind of combat training necessary, but he was also lazy and cowardly. When we arrived in Hammerfell, one of our first stops was in a small town. The people were being terrorized by something known as a lamia. It, or maybe she, was terrorizing the town after she moved into some nearby ruins. Spurius said that we could deal with it if they were willing to pay us. The townsfolk agreed. We bring back the head, and we'd be rewarded. I should have seen the signs. He bought a pair of scimitars in port. Didn't even bring his own weapon. But he said he'd been hundreds of battles like this, and I believed him. We came to the ruins, and almost the second we arrived, I heard the hissing. I spun and drew my sword, but Spurius was already running in front. One sword drawn and being flailed about uselessly. I think it clicked about then what I'd gotten myself into. He struck, and the creature caught his blade on one of her scaled hands. She wrenched it from his grip, and it was sent clattering to the cobblestones. Abandoned and forgotten. Like we would be if I didn't figure out some way to get out of there. He was still breathing, but he seemed to have realized his mistake too. He tried to back away, and mercifully, the lamia let him. I honestly think she was just temporarily confused, but the second he reached for his other weapon, she struck. It was faster than my eyes could follow, and before I knew what had happened, Spurius was lying on the ground with his pauldron torn off, and scarlet dripping down his arm and neck. I caught his eye, and all I could see there was fear. The Lamia hissed again, this time staring directly at me. I don't know if she spoke Tamrielic, and I certainly didn't speak whatever she was speaking. But her meaning was pretty clear. I was next, and then we were dinner. Ugh, the least honorable thing I could think of. I summoned a flame atronach right behind her. She was hit by one fireball before she turned on my summon. The tip of her tail rattled menacingly, and I bolted. While she was distracted, I pulled Spurius to his feet by his good arm, and we ran. By some miracle, we made it away. Or maybe the Lamia just wasn't hungry enough to chase us. I confronted Spurius. Turns out he wasn't the seasoned adventurer I thought he was. He was just a dumb, arrogant man that thought he could find his fortune with a bit of his parents' money and no battle training. He asked if I'd stay with him. He said we made a great team. I turned him down, of course. One of my parents' trade ships was docked in a nearby city. I returned there and went home. A few years later, I set off to Skyrim, and then I met you. Or maybe he would have been killed. That wasn't something I was ready for back then. Honestly, I don't know. I knew I wanted to adventure again, but when you came into the inn, you just had a presence about you. The promise of adventure, maybe. The smell of idiocy is more likely. I wanted to travel again, and I wanted a friend. Something about you just felt right, I guess. Of course you are. A little more skilled, but just as foolhardy. And I wouldn't have it any other way. You want a story? Well, alright then. What do you want to know? Oh, that. I had a pretty boring childhood, but let's see. How about the first time my parents took me along their trade route? Oh, okay. So I was probably about 10 at the time. Every year, my parents would make the journey to Hammerfell to monitor the trade route and establish better contacts throughout the Empire. I had never been along before this, but that year, they agreed that I could come. Nope, and I was excited for the chance to see the rest of Tamriel. A few days after they told me I could go, I was on the ship with my parents. Quiet. Honestly, I was pretty bored for most of it, but once we came to Hammerfell, things got much more interesting. We docked in Sentinel. Right away, I was amazed with the buildings. They were so bright, and it was so warm compared to North Point. I was convinced we had somehow left Nirn entirely. I suppose you would have. This was 17 years ago, though. I'm afraid I don't remember. We stayed near the docks in a building with pretty gold patterns. We met with what felt like thousands of merchants. Khajiit, Redguard, Bretons, of course, even a couple of Bosmer. I had never seen so many people. It was almost overwhelming, but peaceful too. At least there, in the city, all these people weren't fighting. There was no war for them with swords and bows. Instead, they engaged in battles of words and trade deals. It was amazing. Me? No. I can admire that world, but actually taking part? I don't have that kind of talent with words. To see all of Tamriel? Maybe even Nirn? Who wouldn't want that? Oh, just the summer. We had to make it back to North Point before winter set in, or stay in Hammerfell. Because, you know, that is a very good question. I'll have to ask my parents next time I write them. Yeah, sure. This looks like a good spot.
Let me see your journal.
Well, we're in the Reach. Might as well go get that Sybil or whatever.
Fine. I'll admit I'm curious. Show me how to do this. Sure thing. Got it. Have some new tricks up your sleeve. Alright, let's see them. Wait, you mean some of these have how many pins? No, I don't want to tell you what I was doing. No, there is something. There's something I have to tell you, but it needs to be in a private place, okay?